All right. So just to formally introduce myself, I am Precious J. Tankard. I'm a motivational speaker, songwriter, show producer, and artist developer. This class particularly is the introduction to artist development. Me and my goal is to empower creators to shift from ideas to execution by helping them believe in their musical gifts. And I say all of that mainly because as an individual who is an artist and come from artists, producers, more specifically, my parents are rather well known. My father is a sound engineer and a production manager for people like currently Tank, Keith Sweat, and he's done the Millennium Tour. He did Family Gospel Choir's whole shebang for the Clark Sisters. My mother is a touring musician as well, and my great uncle is the godfather of gospel jazz, Ben Tankard. So over time, I became very, very passionate with connecting my sources and resources and connections with other people who may not just have the connections. So over the years, I've started to see the need of artists. And sometimes it can be as simple as in needing feedback. Or just having a listening ear to listen to their music, their product, or even getting strategy sessions on how to market themselves. So that's when I start tying into the things that I've done from experience and the things that I've seen looking out and just trying to help connect the dots between those who are upcoming and don't have. Moving on, just to give you a little bit more about my with, as you can see, George Floyd has nothing to do with music. Actually, is more on the business side. But as I tell people, never underestimate the connections you have. Never underestimate your network. And so, me knowing that I wanted to be an artist growing up, I knew it was going to take more than just taking singing lessons or tapping into other arenas that only include music, because indeed knowing how to sing, knowing how to produce, knowing how to songwrite, all of those things are great, but if you can't get to the business side of it, or have someone on your team that can truly dissect what streaming is and how do you get money from that, or how to promote or brand yourself, having a PR specialist, or just knowing how to talk and network with people, your music is potentially not able to be heard. Or if you're a producer, having those productions or the music or things of that nature is kind of hard to get out to your people that you want to collaborate with if you can't have the solid foundations of building your network. So having a diverse working relationship is important to me because I'm able to build relationships in different places to where when I have platforms like this, I can come in and share my knowledge, but I can also say, hey, I know people or I work with people at A3C Fest. I've worked with people at One Music Fest. I work with people at Funk Fest. And I've seen the preparation that it takes to be on these stages. I've seen the preparation that it takes to be a traveling and a touring performing artist. So that just helps with me when I share with other people. These to the right are some of the songs as of recently that I've released. At the top left is me. The others are songs that I help other people write and kind of put together in a production manner of executive producing, not sitting behind a board. So if you ever have questions on production, as in, using your DAW systems or Pro Tools or Logic or whatever, I definitely in the future look forward to having sessions where people can dive into that. But me, I am usually the orchestrator, the strategist, the individual that helps you sit down and plan things out. So this is a question that I love to start out with. What does your highest creative self look like, right? And again, as I go along with this, the more open you feel, the more you want to talk or engage. I'm here to do that. Definitely don't want it to be that presentation style, because I do believe as an artist, being able to ask the questions, being able for somebody to hear how you think and why you think it is important. So I love building and connecting with other people. So simple, if you would want to write this out, or type it. I'm gonna give you about, I'll say 2 minutes to look at this question. What does your highest creative self look like? And just jot down everything you see, everything you feel. And what I try to tell people is to not overthink, not over strategize, but to literally write out, um, who do you see yourself as? What stages do you want to touch? Who do you want to influence? And then we'll go on from there with the rest of the presentation. Is that cool?
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Okay.
I'll give you about 2 minutes, and then it's a reason I'm doing this, and we'll come back to it later, but I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to just jot down whatever comes to your mind, and we can talk about it if you like.
Okay. All right, I'm doing it.
All right. All right, how you looking over there?
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
All right. All right, let me figure out how to get back. Did the music play for you over there?
Yeah, it played, but it changed. Like once it sounded like it was coming off of a radio speaker, and then at one point it seemed like it was a full out stereo system, like in a studio, if that
Oh,
makes
wow.
sense.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was trying something different this time with the music and how I played through it. So I have to listen back and see. There Zoom has different settings. That's pretty cool. Would you like to share or
Yeah, sure.
okay, go
Definitely.
ahead.
All right. And I don't know if I'm really addressing your question, but I'll just say what came up.
Okay.
It like in terms of the music production or the stuff that I've created, it's not for the traditional like, oh, we're gonna, be on the radio top 100 Billboard. It's more kind of like for meditation with a vibe. It's not that traditional like, oh, you just meditate and you have that ambient ethereal stuff. I wanted to put some kind of like for lack of a better word, swag in it, because I want to be known as a healing artist to inspire a reflection for growth and good feeling. So the stuff that I try to create, it's more indulgent of the five senses so people can be reflective to stir up positive, uplifting emotion, if that makes sense. Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. And what I love even more is that you have clear direction of where you want to go and who you want to influence, which is one of the things that I will dive into. So you've been doing some homework already. You kind of already had a vision for yourself and your artistry already.
I do. I have a strong the thing is that because what I want to do is not mainstream, a lot of, when I've been in like a lot of music groups, they kind of don't understand what I'm trying to do. And they keep trying to push me, oh, this has to have song structure. It has to do this and that. But my stuff is vibey. So it's more kind of creating a mood rather than trying to sell like a song.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. So I have a few clients that have done things as creative as, you know, having songs. Even I think Janae Eiko, she's done sets with sound baths, you know, set up some candle lit dinners, and just made it, you know, those different things are implementations that really gauge the five senses, like you say. And if you're into healing, it's not going to look like the normal song structure. It's not going to go, you know, or I wouldn't say it's not going to go mainstream, but when it's as specific as that, you have to really focus on your top 100 fans, I would like to say. And that helps you truly identify the people that you speak to, and that builds your impact even more. Because say if I'm an artist and all I come in saying is I want people to be influenced by my music, I just want the world to hear me. That's cool. But if you're not speaking directly to someone, they won't be able to truly receive and feel who you are, what you offer, and how they can truly grow from your music. So the fact that you have pinpointed who you are, who you want to serve, and different ways of how you're doing it, like this intro to artist development presentation today, like you're already ahead. So I definitely want to applaud you for taking that time and standing on your beliefs of your creative genius, because not too many people can say, I want to speak to these type of people and I won't be moved by it. So definitely want to give you praise and honor there. And I definitely, if you have stuff, I would love to hear it. You can drop links, and you know, once we get off, I definitely will listen, give feedback or anything. So far, is there any questions or anything you would like to know before I keep going? Or any feedback you want or anything?
I think, well, the true thing, like what inspired me, like I didn't even know this was like around, like you had like a musical background. What I saw first was like moving through that self-confidence, and like really kind of like, no, I'm an artist and I'm going to do this. And I guess the bonus point, then I found out once I read through it later, I was like, oh, well, you're a music as well. I was like, well, this seems like this is, I'm in the demographic that you're trying to target. So yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Me finding honing in on that demographic is coming more as I build my audience. But as of now, I like to just call myself the creative connector. So even if your area or someone else that is doing punk rock or something and has a totally different following, my thing is to connect you to the people and resources that will help you develop as an artist, and give you just general tips that have helped myself, that have helped other people through me just watching them in a sense. So what you speaking on confidence, man, I have in mind some creative coaches or confidence coaches that have even helped me to this day show up in different ways. And that looks like making time for myself in the morning with, you know, different regimens, whatever that may be. Because me as a creative, I can move fast. Like I want to write a song today and release it tomorrow. I want to perform, you know, 5 days out of 7, but it takes strategy. And one thing that comes with having confidence in this area is just being able to get out to do and to network. And so one of the biggest things that I push people on with confidence is, one, knowing who you are and standing on it. Two, showing up in different spaces as your authentic self. And that sentence in itself is forever changing, because us as individuals, we're forever changing, right? So authentic self, what does that mean to me? That just means, okay, when I show up in a room, I am not pulled and pressured by the other energies and the other expectations that people have for me. if this is my look, if this is my image, if you know the scarf and the glasses and the clean face, if that's what I want to show up as, I will consistently, and then that in itself will help other people draw and attach to you and who you are genuinely, versus you coming in the room saying, oh, okay, well, I hear all the artists, or I hear, you know, all these producers are coming with this sound. So on this night, I'm going to try to alter my sound and what I do to fit the norm of the room. It's like, no, like healing is your journey. You know, whether it be sound baths or using natural, you know, more natural sounds or techniques, that's what you stand by and that's what you'll show up with. So in the confidence realm, it's just being consistent and showing who you are and showing up. And when it comes to performance, it's like nobody just becomes this perfect performer or producer overnight. It takes consistent practicing. It takes consistent networking and collaboration. And I stand by collaborating with building confidence, because when you're working by yourself consistently, it's like you're a creative genius. That's great. But when you connect and you build with other people in other forms, it only grows you for the better. Because when you're creating for yourself, is what you know, what you like, what you think others will like. But when you bring other people on board, is having that extra ear, that extra input of, no, like this is our experiences, this is what we hear, you know. It's as if other consumers are in the room with you to help you create. So building confidence, definitely showing up as yourself, definitely learning that network and honing in on that more, and collaboration. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the slide and try to go through some more stuff. It's now 3:23. Want to make sure I stay on time, and then, you know, of course, answer any questions as you may have them. So we went through that. So identify your creative genius was kind of what I was talking about just now, showing up as yourself, being consistent, knowing who you are and who you serve. So that vision, strategy, and confidence part, right? So I'm not pushing religion on anybody. I just like to pull different sources of what I live by. And one of those things with vision is, where there is no vision, people perish. It's a proverb per se. And that is why I indeed start with what do you see for yourself? What do you see for your life? Where do you see it going? Because a lot of times, as we get into this world of entertainment, as we get into our artistry, we can be pulled by what we think people want to hear, what we think people want to see, and kind of go away from the genius that we already have inside of us. I truly believe that any and everything that we need or desire can start from within, and everything is brought to us based off of what we exude or what we have. And so we have to be honest with ourselves and say what we want, be able to write and identify what we want, what we need, what we desire, and what it's going to take to get there. And a lot of times we can just be overwhelmed with life, with how to show up, with not having the results that we have to have. But I always take people back to that initial, what is it that you want to keep before you? Because I truly believe the more you keep that in front of you, you know, you saying that you want to heal and inspire people and bring that growth structure in, the more you see it, the more you'll see that your art will shape the things that you set in front of yourself, the things that you desire. So it's just like having a business plan. You know, being an artist, that is you having and being a business. So if you treat it as such, if you develop, you know, the strategy for yourself, if you develop that marketing plan, that overall introduction of a business plan per se, everything will be set and aligned in a way where you're not just releasing stuff just to release it to conform to the sounds that's before us, but truly honing in on who you are and who you serve. And I, you know, truly embrace individuality and being yourself. So some of my favorite tools that I stand by all day that I will never drift from is having a notebook, a voice memo, YouTube, and Google Docs. And so these are some things that I outlined that are tools to help with your vision and strategy. And so pen and paper will never get old. You can always go with a little pen and paper. But what I push creators to do at large is to create something that you could always repurpose, right? And so say if you want to take your people on a journey and you say you are in the realm of healing, what does that look like to you? And what is the end goal that you want to have? Do I want to start with music and have some performances? Do I want to be a producer that sells my song or my catalog to other people? And from doing that, do I want to repurpose what I've done and what I'm doing into a book, into a movie, into a YouTube channel? Having that in mind when you start will help you navigate as you're walking through your journey. So when it comes to Google Docs, a lot of the songs I write, mainly co-writing or my processing, I like to put it in Google Docs because I realized that my creative genius and songwriting and helping other people and creating their strategies is something that I can repurpose and sell. So now it's not just how do I help individuals through the songs that I release or the songs that I push or my own songwriting, but it's saying that the strategies that I do to use it is what can help them. So say if your creative methods of creating a song or a track or whatever is lighting a candle, having lights, and being in a dark room, whatever that is for you, I feel like that's something your audience would want to know. It'll help them learn who you are all the more. And when there's someone having a creative downfall or they need like an extra, push, because we all get those creative blocks, it's like, okay, well, here's my processes. And to save it a step further, the more people ask you, the more people know you. It's like, nah, like I already wrote a whole book on my processes, how I wrote this music, how I got to this place. And now I'm able to share my story with the world because I always think it's bigger than music. Music is a gateway, but telling your story and the processes within that is really what makes you at the end of the day. Does that make sense?
100. Yeah.
Okay. And then the voice memo, I really call the voice memo my best friend because I'm the type of individual where I can have a conversation with you right now and I'll get a song or I'll get a line or it'll be something that you say where I'm like, dang, like that sounds like a good song. So, people go for, oh, I need a studio to create music, or I need, Logic, or I don't know how to do this, where all you have to do to simplify everything is to just start with the voice memo. Next to the voice memo, if like you have a good idea and you need a little more, I would say go to YouTube. Go to YouTube, type in Janae Aiko type track, type in Summer Walker type beat. And from those instrumentals, you can kind of keep going with the initial idea that you had from your voice memo and kind of use those tracks to shape the sound that you're going for. Now, that doesn't mean do your voice memo with your original music and take these people tracks and, push it, of course, to be logical. But it means that once you do meet a producer and link up with them, that you now have everything that you need to bring this vision to life so they can repurpose it in a way or remake the track or, however people use the terms. But me being a creative that tries to continuously create, I just want to make everything plain and simple to the point where if you say you're good at writing, you're now good at producing, but you need something else, I truly believe as long as you have a voice recorder, as long as you have YouTube, who is like second to Google in teaching you how to produce, teaching you how to record on Logic, teaching you, songwriting, or if it's just as simple as getting a track. These are the 4 things that I stand by that I would say just hone in on using more. Any questions on this?
No,
and have you tried any of these tactics?
You know what, like, wow, I haven't used it. Like I'll go on YouTube to sort of like find like references. And I've used Google Docs. In terms of the voice memo, that could be applicable that I could use. And for some reason, I've been resistant to use like the notebook. Because I'll be like, oh, I'll just put it in my notes on my computer. But yeah, but you're right. Something about having that tool that transfer directly without having any intermediary directly to the page. Yeah, there's something that works about that. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing about voice memo, do you have I know Androids have it too. But literally another best friend that I had is the note section in my phone. So what I'll do sometimes is I'll go to my voice memo, and this is exactly, if you know what it looks like, it's this right here. So in mine, I could make something right now, title it, and I'll go to my notes and kind of put it in my note section, write out some more lyrics or whatever. So just help it keep organized. Even with the voice memo, there's apps where you could take that same thing and plug it in with the instrumental per se. So it kind of helps that extra step. But the writing, I just feel like it's the foundation of creation. And I wouldn't say it is necessary because we have, the Google Docs, we have the phone. But at the end of the day, like I think it's just me, something spiritual in being able to scribe and write those things out. And then from there, I would suggest the Google Docs or the notes or anything like that. So I'm glad that you already have, some source of what you use and what you do. But yeah, it's something about writing it that I feel has power and connection in it. Hey Timothy, how you doing? You can come off mute if you like.
Hello.
You good? This is Jordan, man. Jordan, man. This is Timothy. It's a network room, so I want to make sure we're all connected in here. So Timothy, so far we kind of run through networking, confidence, and what that looks like and how you build it, which I would just say is being consistent in how you show up, when you show up, and being yourself in every space. Jordan has kind of clearly defined what her vision is, as far as being an artist, who she wants to serve, how she wants to serve them. And that's one of the things, the keys that I push artists to have, is to know who you serve, know who you want to show up as, know the end result that you want people to get out of the artistry or the creativity that you bring to the table. So Timothy, if you don't mind, like just telling us a little bit about yourself so I can make sure everything that I'm saying is kind of in alignment to you and your desires out of this class.
Wow. Hi.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the opposite of that. I have a lot of interests, and I kind of want to chase after all of them, but not knowing what would be most efficient to go after first, or not knowing what really, who, not depending on what I do, that would change who I'm supposed to be serving. And it's really just, depending on whether you go with clinical labeling, it's attention deficit disorder. So whatever you want to call it, I struggle with it a lot. And it's especially now that I'm starting to have an idea of what I really want to do with my life. And I'm finding it harder than ever to make progress. And, I come on these things and I get advice, but it's still tricky. I play music, I dance, I sing. I don't necessarily have, full confidence in any of those things, but I know if I picked one and focused on it, I could build that confidence, but it's still all over the place. So yeah, that's where I am.
Okay. What I'll ask you is, do you have a creative community? Like, do you have some friends where you can send, your material to and ask for honest feedback? Do you have places where you can go perform or, you know, kind of showcase your giftings?
Not really. I I was in a band last year, and I mean that was, to some extent, that was an avenue for that, but I, you know, didn't really, other than my frustrations with the structure and the lack of discipline, and frustrations with my own lack of discipline, and the fact that I wasn't bringing anything to the table, which was the whole point, you know. It's
Right.
like if I were writing, if I were producing, if I were bringing stuff, maybe I wouldn't feel so dissatisfied. So yeah, partly I don't have an outlet, and partly I'm not consistent in coming up with things to share.
Understandable. Understandable. So what I'm hearing from what you're saying is that you're definitely a multi-creative. And I fully promote that. I think as creatives, there shouldn't be one particular lane that we have to operate in. I think that it's important for us to be able to release whatever it is that we feel passionate about. That, you know, if I wake up tomorrow and I want to dance and make a music video off of me dancing, you have that right. You know, it's literally given to you, or that desire and that passion is there for a reason. The consistently definitely will help, but it's not. It's real world scenarios. Like, it's hard to be consistent in one vein when there's so much going on from day to day, right? So I don't want you to beat yourself up about it or be hard on yourself. What will help you all the more is finding communities that embrace you and help you to hone in on the skills that you already have. A band is cool. It helps you to show up and present yourself in a way where you're acknowledged for your giftings, but community really helps you develop, right? So when it comes to you being able to play music, you being able, you know, to sing and all these other things, if you don't have that community where you can truly show up as yourself, those things will get lost, you know. And even with confidence building, I feel like once you hone in on that sacred place of community, collaboration, and conversation, it'll help you to identify the things that you do, you know, just for fun, and the things that you want to do consistently to make a lifestyle out of. One thing that I spoke to Jordan about was taking the things that you already do and have done and kind of journaling about it or writing it out on your processing, because I don't know about, you know, you per se. I can only speak for me, but everything I do, I want to be able to shed light on it in a way to help other people. So even you learning how to tell your story, you know, sometimes I believe gifts aren't always to profit or to perform, but to truly seek out the processing and help other people through their day-to-day life. So that's why I can identify with being a multi-creative and giving suggestions or knowing what that feels like to not be confident in what I bring to the table, or, you know, fearing or not being able to be consistent because I have so many things going in my head. But what's helped me is to just show up in different spaces, and to be able to, you know, kind of compartmentalize what I want to do and when. So I break everything down into like the 4 quarters within the year. So quarter one, say I want to focus on music, right? So quarter one, I'm like, who can I connect with in the music world that'll, you know, help me strengthen my songwriting, that'll help me, you know, push this single that, you know, I'm releasing. Quarter two, how can I connect with my audience a little more? You know, how can I get my name out there off of what I built in quarter one as far as songwriting? Quarter three, I want to play music. I mean, I've built my ways up in songwriting. I built my name. Now it's time for me to pour out what I kind of poured in, which is why quarter one and quarter two to me is truly dependent on me stretching myself, me finding other people that can pour into me, that can help me. Because quarter three and quarter four, I'm all about execution. Quarter three, quarter four, I'm all about, you know, doing the things that bring me peace and monetary, you know, goals based off of the work that I did before. And say, you know, Q4, it's all about making money. You know, is as a creative, it's hard to be strategic and planning and saying things like that. But with you having all the gifts that you do, connection and being strategic will make all the difference for you, right? So I would never tell you that you have to focus on one thing. I would just say make sure the timing aligns with your goals and your vision that you have for yourself. So if you know your goals per quarter, it'll be able to help you to strategically identify what you need to be doing per day, per week, per month, if that makes sense. And Jordan, speaking in your realm and your experience, is there anything, because I don't want to, come off as a teacher or a know-it-all. I really want to be able to help you even in this moment, form community and kind of talk to other people with other experiences. So Jordan, is there anything that you could say to him or any experiences that you had that are relative to his?
Wow. To be honest, everything that you've been saying has just been hitting the mark. Like you are just, and I don't have anything else to add. Well, community is definitely important because I find that it motivates and inspires me to keep going. Sometimes it's like when doubt creeps in. So it's like when I'm sharing my stuff with other people, like in my musical group or whatever, it, it's community. They've gone through the same things. And then sometimes they be able to give you a little tip to be like, oh, I didn't even think about that. But also it's just about like sharing and connection.
Right.
Yeah, that grounds me. So that's all I have to add. Yeah.
I love it. What I'm gonna do even right now, so because me, I'm not all about, this is me, this is what I offer, or this is what I have. I'm really about plugging people into, different things I'm a part of. So I'm gonna drop in the chat some people that I'm connected with and that I follow that kind of help me. God and gigs. I want to make sure I give y'all the right platform. Account. What in Jesus' name? God and gigs. And Timothy, do you have like any music out or anything? You can feel free to drop anything you want to share with us, or you want us to check out so we can make sure we're supporting you.
I don't currently have anything available to share.
Okay. All right. And it doesn't have to be, right now. I was just saying if you had any links or, Facebook or Instagram, creative communities. All right. So, I messed that up. Writing rounds and guide and gigs. And then I'll explain what that is. Hey, come on, Jordan. I love to see it. I love to see it. Let me see how I can is there where I can send? I think I have to go back and copy it later. So these two are two of my favorite creative communities that I literally stand by all day and promote to anybody that says they don't have a community or they just need individuals that can help push them, listening ears sometimes, or just strategy. So Writing Rounds is a co-writing platform where they literally get together via Zoom or in person sometimes to co-write music too. And that's really helped me with confidence because, like I was telling Jordan earlier, me creating in my own lane and my avenue by myself is cool. But once I am able to be in a open, creative space with other people that have the same goals, the same visions, and the same genius per se, but in different avenues, it literally helps keep me sharp because how I think and how I create, I can overanalyze. Oh no, that's not good enough. Oh no, this doesn't meet the standard of, the top charts, or this not going to play in the club. But when you get with other creators, they help validate, the genius that you bring to the table. And the more that you're able to do that, the more that you're able to execute on the things that you desire, and even, shed light on other giftings. So I definitely would say, check out Writing Rounds, YouTube, Instagram, they're everywhere. I wrote a few songs with them that have been put out within the recent year. And God and Gigs. So God and Gigs is overseen by a guy named Alan C. Paul. He is a mastermind. He is a very intuitive and in tune person, and he's a creative coach. So a lot of times people in the industry, especially creators, overlook the mentorship avenue, or per se like a business coach, but in a sense of creativity. And I think sometimes that's what helps us make all the difference in how we show up in our day-to-day creative lives. Having someone that is a creative but knows how to take creations and strategically help us create products or profit off of our creative genius in a sense. So both of them, they have motivational posts that they do. They have a very motivating and collaborative community, and God and Gigs particularly they have programs set in place, or classes that can kind of help you find the lane that you want to be and perfect it, and just give different resources. Like, say if you have more business-minded business questions, and how to profit from your streams, or how to create a podcast, or how to whatever, like probably whatever you can think of, because he's so in tune, and he shows up for his people, and where if you drop the question in there, he would literally develop a class just to help you out. So those are my two. And I don't know if you Jordan have any, or know any Facebook groups, but definitely we can stay in touch, and I can kind of guide you all a little more on who I recommend. So that's that. Moving on, what is a song and its purpose? So with you all kind of having different forms of how you show up in the creative space, I think you could be able to apply this in your day-to-day creative life. But what I really want you to get out of this slide, not just from a song, but knowing how to connect your life experiences into turning that into a creative form. So everybody's going through something, right? Everybody has a story to tell, but you have to identify how you want to show up and tell that story. And so the more you journal, the more you memo, those thoughts and those creative ideas out, I think the more it'll be easier to navigate your life, and not just your life, but how you can help other people learn and grow with you. Knowing that art and music is a universal language, I think makes creatives all the more special, right? So to know that I can say a lyric and push a lyric, and thousands and thousands of people have that same thought, that same feeling, there's nothing more powerful than that. Like, I feel like music and entertainment should be at the top of the totem pole for profit. Like, we're literally helping people get through day to day. And then knowing that whatever creation that you have should evoke an emotion. So with everything that you create, knowing I want people to leave feeling inspired. I want people to leave, feeling healed, or that they can go out into the world and, do and be better. Having that in mind as you create will definitely help you pinpoint who you want to market to, who you want to speak to. And that also translates to how you show up socially. And I like to say social versus social media, because when we say social media, sometimes we can get overwhelmed and saying, well, I have to make reels, or I have to, post 3 or 4 times a day, where it's like, no, like if you just learn how to speak to the people that you're meant to speak to, it'll be a little easier to communicate, who you are, what you have, and promote your products. So just to make this slide more general versus saying this is how you write a song, hopefully this makes sense. And I will keep going. We can skip that. Why is it going backwards? That's weird. Wow, what? Okay, I think it's going the right way. Yeah. All right, so one thing that we spoke on with confidence on my behalf is conversation, networking, and engagement, right? So ways to strengthen your engagement. My first one-liner was to focus on the few while building the crew. And so with that, a lot of times we can say the things that we desire, but feel that we don't have it because we don't have musicians, because we don't have producers, because we don't have, you know, thousands of people chasing us to hear our art. But if we literally focus on the people that's consistently showing up, the people that want to buy from us or support us in any manner, it'll help us to truly tap into who we're meant to serve. So as you're building your confidence and engagement, the best way to do those things are being strategic in your networking, identifying and speaking to your listeners, and showing up socially and showing your process. So with strategic networking events, this is my first thing to recommend when I tell people, you know, ways of building their confidence or their engagement. Say if you're going, Timothy, to a jam session, and you know you feel comfortable in the space of playing a music, playing, you know, drums or playing guitar or whatever that is, and you're showing up in that realm, you're confident in that because you've been doing it. Because it's nothing for you to sit on an instrument, but you know, opposed to singing or songwriting, you may be a little timid about what you have to offer. But trust, the more you show up in spaces, whether small, like living room small, or like a nice 100 size, you know, people venue, the more you practice, the more you become confident in what you have to offer, right? So being strategic and looking up events that will help you grow. I literally got to a point where I say, hey, I'm lacking confidence in performing. So let me find some open mic nights that I can perform at. And to this day, like right now, I'm doing that very thing, to where I'm looking up, you know, what events are happening in this city on Eventbrite or Facebook. As you know, I know Jordan found this group, and just showing up. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I a lot of times perform even better when I know there's people in the room that I don't know. I don't know why, but y'all don't know me, so I can show up and sing, and I can go home and, you know, be my old born self. So find the process that works for you and show up in those spaces. Showing your process, right? So Tim, you mentioned that there's a lot of things that you love to do, but you're still trying to find the lane for you. And the reason why I say explore them all is because people will tell you what they enjoy the most. People would like kind of pull out of you what they need from you the most. So for me, I was sold on being an artist for years. Like, oh, I'm a, you know, be on stages and I'm a top charts or yada yada yada. And all that's cool. But when I found what I found out as I showed my process, as I let people into my day-to-day thoughts, and I just started letting all of my gifts kind of reveal themselves, people gravitated towards my motivational speaking and artist development more. And so I literally allowed my consumers to help me identify what was best for me in that time period. Now, it's not to say that I can't be an artist, that I can't, you know, write songs, that I can't release songs, that I can't be on these big stages, but it's just to say that everything has a time and a place, right? We live life in seasons. We live life by timing. So if we're avoiding to operate in timing and listening to consumers, we'll probably sometimes miss the mark on what we're supposed to be doing and when we're supposed to be doing it. So definitely, just letting your social media or your close circles into what you're doing, you know, releasing the music, going to the jam sessions, posting a poem a week, or, you know, anything like that, and saying, hey, like, what are people kind of gravitating to the most? Asking for feedback. Like, it's cool. Like, if sometimes I'll go to my story as I'm writing something, and I'll literally record in that moment the song, you know, kind of pull up a little survey, like, what do y'all think about this? Some people feeling it, some people not. Or then tomorrow I can post me dancing and everybody can love it. Okay, well, people like dancing more. So kind of, you know, don't be too afraid to bring people in and kind of ask for their input. Do y'all have any questions in that regards? Looks like no.
Yeah, no, that definitely rings true. That's I've believed that for a while, that if I start to, even if it's incomplete things or things that feel like they don't have a direction, if I just share more of what I'm, what parts of myself I'm exploring, that, more people will either tell me what they're seeing or say how what I'm doing can help them with what they're doing, or, I feel like things will just, that if I put that out there, things that are related to that will come back to me. But knowing it and doing it are
two different things. Oh, trust
yeah.
me. But that's when community comes back into the picture, right? So I have people that I like to call accountability partners. I don't just say friend, best friend, whatever. Like, I truly call them and identify them as such, because once you start promoting and pushing things, even if it's via text message, it doesn't always have to be social media. And these days I promote email marketing more than social media, because that's consistent. Social media can be here today, gone tomorrow, but if you have those emails have been around since Jesus, forever. So building that email marketing to help you even more stay directly connected to your audience. But all that to say, when I start putting things out there, people start looking for me to show up, to put things out there. So once you have people that believe in you, that promote and push you, they'll literally, if you have the right individuals, check on you, push you to execute. And I think that helps us all the more, because sometimes we can get into the process of creating and releasing and we leave it there. But it's like, no, like, you still have to water that baby that you released. You still have to take the moments to even give yourself praise on making a great product, releasing a great product, and then connecting consistently to your consumers to make sure that they're getting all that genius that you put out there. So just to say, I truly believe that community will make the difference, and the more that you seek it and put yourselves in even rooms like this, which is a great first step, the more it'll help you to show up. It took me years to even release one song, even when I helped other people release their own. And sometimes it just takes that, building the confidence through practicing. It doesn't mean that you have to practice by doing your own thing. It could be that you're practicing to help somebody with something else. So with community, I definitely believe it'll help bridge that gap in execution. So it's all of this is not to say, take these tips and go apply it right now, but sometimes you just have to take it in, water it, sleep on it, and just, if it's your thing to do, pray on it, and, ask, God to send you people that believe in you and can push you through your journey, because it's not a one-man show. Like, literally nobody writes, produces, promotes, shows up to perform their own show by themselves. Like, everybody needs community. And that's why I put that back out there, because we live in a generation of time where independency is great and it's promoted, but collaboration needs to be promoted just as much as being independent and showing up and knowing how to do all of these things. Like, that's great. But if you don't have people that can affirm you, that can help you, and that can push and promote you, still having a hard time. So let's see if we can keep going. If I have anything else, I kind of touched on these things already. Mastering your messaging, knowing what you want to say, how you want to say it, and your desired response and emotion. Again, mastering your messaging in terms of creating is important, because it helps you identify and connect to your consumers. You making stuff just because it sounds good and it's cool is cool. Like, it's nice. But if you're in the business of making music to influence, to help, and to build community, it's important that you truly identify your vision for yourself, identify the message of the story that you want to tell or you want people to connect with, and be consistent in how you show up, right? So I'm going to keep it going. And then I spoke on making life your song. So this can be in a production realm, in a musician realm, in a songwriting realm, just literally taking the feelings and your emotions and placing it in creative form, right? So Jordan spoke on the different ways that she shows up in her musical journey and how it's different from others. Well, if you take in your experiences and your emotions and let your creation be shaped around that and your own individuality, it'll truly help you to align with, again, consumers, to help you align with being confident in what you have to offer and how you show up, because you're one, knowing yourself and knowing your sound, and you're developing it in time as you keep practicing and putting things out there. And then two, you're now able to take everything that's in you and release it in a way that connects you to others, which again, creativity is just nothing like having that type of musical gifting, which is why at the end of the day, I'm passionate about artist development and helping others, because it's not something we can do alone. And even if we just have that one or two people that can talk with us, that can sit with us, it'll make all the difference, right? So co-writing. This can go for poets, songwriters, and I say even musicians. Sometimes when I songwrite, I come up with melodies first. And that looks like me humming out of tune, sometimes without words. And sometimes people will say, like, they think I'm a musician because of how I write. I can't play a thing. That's my parents and my brothers. Me, I'm a writer all day. But the more I write with musicians, the more it helps me translate the actual sound of it. So me promoting collaboration is also me promoting co-writing, which is what Writing Rounds, who I dropped in the chat, that's what they're all about. So with co-writing, one conversation can be just the creative spark that you need. Co-writing, I believe, increases creativity, helps you push through creative blocks, overcome self-doubt, and build creative community. So after everything I said, I think this kind of speaks for itself, but if you have any questions, just jump in. And there's different forms of co-writing, different ways you can do it. And hopefully in the future, I definitely plan on doing a co-writing session in one of these rooms, just in case you all have never experienced it, or just to kind of give you insight to what it feels like to be able to collaborate with other people, the do's and don'ts of doing that as well. Definitely love that, so I don't have to do things myself. So it's now 4:04, and that kind of wraps up this intro to artist development for today. And just to kind of highlight the things we talked about was knowing how to show up as your creative self and your creative genius. And that just means you being consistent in how you show up, you being open and willing to evolve your messaging and your creativity, because no one likes the same sounding song. So you have to be open to showing up different in your creativity. It's not always going to sound the same. It's not going to always have to look the same, but your morals and your vision has to connect for you to be able to translate a consistent message, in a sense. Not being afraid to step out and network, right? And so networking builds community, but it also helps show you who you are and who you serve. So I stand by that. Artist development, I like to break it down in terms of just having conversation, getting input, and connecting strategy with vision to help you execute, right? So these are ways that you can get in touch with me. And I look to do these rooms at least once a month. I'm not sure on how consistent it will be, but do you all have any feedback or things you'll like to see as we close in this particular space, or things that'll help you on your journey, so I can kind of outline things that can happen in the future?
So basically we could book you to for like a session or something like that, like a one-on-one, or like what's your program?
Yeah, so what is it called? Raw Black Films. So with this particular platform, everything will be free as of now. So the Sunday sessions on here will remain on Zoom in a group format. And I kind of partnered with them to help build for us to help build each other's platform in a sense. So if you go on their website, they have different rooms, social media, events, comedy, just for the all around creative. So they're looking to branch out, but also be individualized with creative. So I think about every Sunday they have something going on their website within their platform.